Gently as the water falls to the stream, how lovely do the droplets form, refracting the sun's light, teardrops trapping shards of the rainbow from April's downpour. When the clock hits 3, all the children run freely, and out to the gardens, playing to their heart's content. Let the memories of last summer play out into spring's youth. Children sing gleefully, sharing age-old tales of captains slaying monsters of the abyss to the demise of the dark fairy who once ruled the forest. Yet one still baffles them all, the song of a forest spirit who still roams the woods for centuries on end, yet his story is only a song. 5 of them went to a grandmother who had met the young fellow when she too was a young child. Her story starts at the eve of her 12th birthday, when a game of soccer led her astray. Off she went, venturing into the forest, at a time where kids like her were gone in a flash. When the moon reached just above, the young girl found herself lost. Cold and scared, she nearly wept, calling for her family to catch her sound, but she wandered too far from safety. Sad and alone, she curled up against a tree, hugging the wet slippery ball. As she rocked and rocked, she heard something strange in the chilly spring winds. Emerald eyes scanned the blackened forest, but she was no cat. She hoped her scent wouldn't attract them any closer. Soon that strange sound became clear, and wolves surrounded the girl. She wished, oh she wished, that someone would hear her cry, but the shock from the wolves scared her speechless. They growled and sniffed their prey, baring their ivory fangs and awful-smelling saliva. She never forgot that smell. Suddenly, a tune, taken from the early daybreak of finches and the melodious harmonies of songbirds. Such a whistle dared to disturb the dead of night? There was only one person who could play this tune all so well and perfectly. She never forgot that tune. Wolves, ferocious creatures beneath the moon, turned with fear as the song grew louder and louder. The young girl looked above, and, in the moonlight, to the silhouette of a young boy. He strolled casually, dancing his fingers against his instrument, wood carved into the crescent. The little girl wondered why a boy would be wandering through the woods at night with nothing but a lyre at his side. Perhaps he too was lost, and just happened to stumble upon the scene. But what was he to do with a lyre and a whistle through his lips? Young boy, a mere few years older, brushed his hand against his moon-shaped instrument, summoning forth a halo of fireflies. Fireflies danced around his silhouette, revealing a peachy canvas with specks of cinnamon sprinkled all over his cheeks and across his nose. A ring of fireflies orbited the young boy, illuminating his jade eyes a deeper green than the young girl's. She never forgot those eyes. She may have been the first to encounter the one known as Galesong River. At the time, his tale was nothing more than a song or a mere fairy tale. Yet here he was, at the foot of danger in his unholy kingdom. Wolves growled, hoping to scare off the forest spirit, but he was too old for these puppies and their mischief. Swaying his right arm around, he played with the strings of his lyre, shooting off sharp notes to their canine ears. Even the wolves were too weak for his music, running away like the scared puppies they were, freeing the girl from the shadows. When she finally felt safe, she saw the hand of her savior, a gentle smile that warmed her frigid body. She held his hand, and they walked through the forest, where the sound of cars was an earshot away. She looked up, and he held his hand out, summoning of fireflies to guide the way, illuminating the forest. She rushed to her worried family, hugging her like the ocean swallowed seashells. The next night, she celebrated her birthday with music, food, and dancing. Just as she was about to drift off to sleep, she heard a peculiar tune. She looked out the window and, against the face of the moon, spotted a silhouette that was all too familiar. He stood on the rooftop of a nearby building and jumped, landing on the fire escape of a vacant window. He sat on the steps, amber light showering his silhouette, feeling his attire of a long green cloth or set boots that took one too many beatings. With his tassel strapped around his waist, it swung slightly as he began the song. Gentle and sweet with a cheerful tune in the chorus, Galesong River celebrated the girl's birthday with her. On the final few notes, he gave her one last look before plucking the last string. He gave her a smile, and she blushed, before he vanished into the shadows. She never forgot that night. Decades later, those nights remained fresh in her aging mind, though folks still didn't believe her. Figured she had said that river with that strange shimmer, but she knew all too well of Galesong River. Boy who spent his days by the marsh and lake, storming his lyre with the birds and crickets, guarding the forest and its inhabitants from those who prey. One may not know his true age, for he stayed a young boy for centuries, through an age of time in which the land changed with wars and scars. Whether he's mortal or not, it doesn't affect his duty in this world, a role instilled and a power bestowed upon him through his lyre. Songs that remain eternal through its various renditions and alterations. The origins and meaning never changed, for Galesong River wrote these songs during the first war of his life. With these words, he wished that no one shall perish in his hands or be left a rotting corpse in his homeland. These words he took as a promise and played through his joyous music, reminding himself why he needed to stay for so long. So, beneath the calm nature of the musician and his music, reminded him of the horrors his world put him through, rupturing a part of himself that blindly trusted those around him. Sadly, as a young naive spirit, his youth was destroyed ruthlessly, shattering a diamond like a glacial spear. His song, loved by many, filling the empty void inside himself, making him ever so proud of the world he promised to protect. Now, in her final years, the grandmother looked out her window, staring at the building where she saw him that one last time. She never forgot his song.